here with us. Round of applause for her. Akin Adeboye is also here, in charge of. You are all welcome. My name is Gabriel Odu. Nigerian.
You all know his experience in the hands of the police in South Africa, and I think that incident was meant to use, maybe God wants to use you to make a statement, because if you hadn't had that recording, we don't know what would have happened to you. But welcome home. We're proud of you.
Thank you very much.
And you're one of our very best.
Thank you.
And we like the way you comported yourself. But don't let me say much. Just start by sharing your experiences with us now that you're home, and what you think should be the way forward. In the meantime, we're waiting for NAN's executive, who said they want to address us at the Enough is Enough conference. But we'll hear from Tayo first, and then we'll take it from there. So you're welcome. Let's appreciate Tayo and thank God for his life.
Thank you. Just as you have said, I believe what happened was ordained by God. And also, I would like to thank you, my Honorable Abike Dabiri, for the motherly love and care and support you have shown me since the incident. And I would like to thank the whole of Nigeria for standing up for me, and the messages and everything, the tweets. Thank you very much for the love you have shown me. And to my South African family as well, because not everybody in South Africa is in support of xenophobia. At the police station that day, it was very packed, with some of my actor friends, Celestine Tuli, Adze Uga. People who stood up for me were actually not only Nigerians, and because of these people, I will hold on to my love for South Africa, and to make sure that to make sure that instead of breaking the bridge between Nigeria and South Africa, I'll continue to reconstruct it. Thank you. So on this day, it was unfortunate because I actually missed my way from where the cops were. But something just happened. I just had to turn back to that place. And, when it happened when I was in the cell, I was thinking, maybe I should have avoided it. Maybe I shouldn't have turned back. But then something kept on telling me that there's something positive that is coming out of this. And the positivity that I want out of this is the change. I've started a movement on Say No to Xenophobia under the platform of Ordeal Classics, which is my own brand. And I've been preaching, I've been teaching people, because the main reason and the cause, or the reason why xenophobia still exists today in Africa, is in South Africa, is because there is a lack of information. Many people there, they feel like they are entitled to hate Nigerians because they don't have enough reasons why they should love us. There's no information at all. You will never see any billboard in South Africa that says, say no to xenophobia, or maybe newspaper or whatever. There is nothing like that. That was what triggered me. I've been harassed many times, but I've never been beaten before. And I started to think that, being in South Africa, I'm there for positive reasons, and I'm contributing my own positive quota into it, and I make sure that I'm a law-abiding citizen. Then why should I just fold my arms and see things get destroyed, And I know that although we may have some bad eggs out of Nigeria, but we have so many great Nigerians out there in South Africa and even here. And because of these incidents, I've met with people personally who have actually told me that I don't want to ever go to South Africa again. And this pains my heart so much, because the land of South Africa has actually provided me a second home. And it has blessed me. South Africa can never be taken out of my life. And this is the reason why I say no to xenophobia, and I will not back down. And I assure the world, because I believe I'm standing in front of the world today, that I have the resources. And with the right support, I can eradicate xenophobia. Maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years, but please put me to test. I know everything about xenophobia. And you see, one thing about this again is that people think I'm a brave guy. In Sandton, in South Africa today, if I go out, they say, our Mandela. I said the Mandela that will not go to jail for 27 years. You know, because I'm not going to do it by war or by violence or by being disrespectful or out of bitterness or anger. I cannot teach people to love if I'm demonstrating bitterness and hatred, you know? So what I want to do is that the vengeance that I want from what happened here is to show love more to South Africans, to let them see why we should all come together.
Learn from history.
Right? Yeah. So South Africa is my passion. I sleep, I dream of Africa. I think Africa, you know, the future of Africa is when we all can come together. Because Nigerians, God blessed us. We're awesome people. We're very dope. And South Africa as well, God has blessed them with so much. When we come together, and this goes to all other African countries as well, when we come together and we join forces together, we can make a better Africa. So I've been preaching, I've been teaching people. I have my own target, my own audience. You know, people who have been following me, I've been watching my motivational talks on Pan-Africanism and Say No to Xenophobia. In 2015 as well, I recorded a song called Say No to Xenophobia because this has been an issue that has been bothering me. But thank God I got beaten into my greatness, that today I'm sitting right next to the great people out of Nigeria like Honorable Abike Dabiri. Thank you very much. I can't thank you enough. But I see this as an opportunity for me to actually be there and to do more and to actually be able to take this thing out, because it's not good for Nigeria, it is not good for South Africa. The stigma is bad. And whatever affects one country out of Africa affects all of us. Thank you.
It's sad. As we've said before, up till about 2016. Up till about 2016, we've had about 118 Nigerians killed in South Africa. Between 2016 and today, 88 Nigerians have been killed in South Africa. Although out of these 88, I think 25 were cases of Nigerians killing Nigerians. And then we had the case of Elizabeth Chukwu, who was murdered in her hotel room. Now, this is what we demand. 8 policemen are currently being investigated in South Africa for their involvement in killings against Nigerians. That investigation must come to an end, and there must be consequences for their actions. Now, the 2 policemen that did this to Tayo, they're already being investigated by the investigating body that deals with police officers in South Africa. We must know the outcome of the investigation. We also must know who killed Mrs. Elizabeth Chukwu, who went for a conference and died in her hotel room. Now, we know that every country have their own challenges. We have ours. They have theirs. But killing other people is not the solution to anything. If a Nigerian commits a crime, you deal with them. And then, like Tayo said, we just have to put an end to xenophobia in Africa. It's a shame that in the 21st century, we're talking about Africans killing Africans, rather than talking about Africans going to the moon, doing inventions, taking over the world. This cannot be allowed to happen. So, Tayo, maybe we'll call you the champion of saying no to xenophobia.
Thank you, ma.
And I'm going to ask you, how do you intend to do it? Do you want to share that with us?
All right, thank you very much, ma. I'm an entertainer, but I also understand how to make a brand from nothing into being big. I see South Africa as a brand. I see Nigeria as well as a brand. And one of the most important tools used in making any brand become bigger is the information. There are ways where you do adverts, commercials and stuff like that. And also because I mentioned something about billboards, all right? Everything all boils down to information. These people have no information at all. The South Africans who have lived in the city and have mingled with us and have experienced the good side of the Nigerians, they love us so much. In fact, they can't do without us today. The ones who don't have any reason to love us, we can't blame them for hating us. You know, and also another thing is I said something about people thinking Tayo is brave. I was also afraid for my life. In fact, like from like the first 10 seconds of that video that day, I was unconscious. Everything I was saying, I didn't know anymore because the officer had already promised me that I was going to see hell, you know. So I was just trying to do that because that was the only thing that came to mind to protect myself, you know. So not that I also don't have fear. I just have more respect for truth than I do for fear. Our Nigerian youths, or let me say brothers and sisters, some of us also have contributed to the existence of xenophobia in South Africa. We can't blame them. Truth is like a two-faced sword. It's facing the person that is saying it, and it's facing the other person too. So we cannot now say that Yorubas will say, Orififo, Oribibe Kologun, Orififo. It means if you have a headache, you won't cut off your head, you know. We love South Africa. They are one of us. Instead of breaking the bridge, we will instead give them reasons to love us. As a Nigerian living out there in South Africa, what kind of example are you? If you are nice to your neighbor, my neighbors love me. My neighbors love me because I make sure that I behave myself. You know, most of our people out there also, the way they behave is also bad. We need a platform. That is what I've been doing under Oduduwa classes, whereby we teach our people. Because when I started at first, I was talking about xenophobia and why we don't need xenophobia and why we should express more love and share more love within each other, within ourselves. But I was still going to, you know, because when you want people to hear the truth, you don't have to be too harsh about it. So with my Nigerian brothers, I know their faults. I've lived in South Africa for 11 years, and I'm also a well-grounded Nigerian. So I know the both sides. So I know definitely that, okay, yes, there are some things that, you know, loopholes that as Nigerians we also have to feel. But if I come across as being too harsh about it, it may not be sweet to their hearings. So in that case, I was just starting, you know, and building up. But at this moment, what we will do is to have a platform where we can educate our people. Because you can be a child of a king, a prince. If you don't carry yourself as a prince, you won't be treated like one. As Nigerians, we are princes, we are princesses. But if we don't represent ourselves as princes and princesses, why would we want people to treat us like that? So in this case, yeah, all right, ma. Thank you.
It's okay, just to have them sit down.
Oh, okay.
This is our Nan's.
Oh, okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like as a child, when I was growing up, if I were to fight with my brother over maybe a cup of tea, for instance, my dad would come and take the cup away from both of us. And then he would deal with us accordingly first, before he now makes his judgment. So that is the method that I want us to use in this. Instead of causing more fights or doing it violently and saying, let's close this shop, let's get violent about this thing, why don't we just sit above of this problem and be better than this problem and show enough love to Nigeria, show enough love to South Africa, and see the flaws of the both sides and how we can both work together in eradicating xenophobia. But as for me, I say no to xenophobia. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tayo. In terms of what government has been doing, we know that some time ago, I think there has to be a stronger policy decision. Some time ago, I'm sure the Minister of Foreign Affairs is going to be one of the priorities, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to meet again with his counterpart in South Africa and review the early warning signal that was put in place. That has to be done while diplomatic channels are being explored. However, we are reaching a tipping point. We're getting to a point where Nigerians are getting really angry and they can't take it anymore. One more death again in South Africa is becoming unbearable for Nigerians. You don't go there and come back with body bags.
Wow.
And you know, so we just have to do everything to ensure that it does not escalate to that level where you start picketing and start destroying, because that's not who we are. We're Nigerians. We're humane and we respect humanity and we take care of our visitors. On that note, I want to call on the chairman of NANS, the president. You can see he's not smiling at all. He's come here.
Victoria, Victoria, Satan.
are conscious Nigerian students, ever corrosive Nigerian students. I know go green Nigerian students. Unintimidated, go sir. Go sir. Pulu pulu.
President, come this way. Sit down.
Yes,
Wait,
your flag.
we'll arrange the microphone. Don't worry. Sit down.
Let me put that down. Okay, you just speak for 3 minutes. You can't be removing other people for you. You're pushing me.
Just give you 1 minute to arrange.
Please, please.
We will take the speech of the national president of. Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians across the globe. Good morning, my elders seated here. Good morning, comrades, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am Comrade Daniel Sin Bamidele Akpan, the Grand Commander of Nigerian Students, President, National Association of Nigerian Students worldwide. The killings of our brothers in South Africa has attained an alarming dimension that calls for every form of retaliation. Like they do say, when an handshake has gone beyond the elbow, it's no longer friendly, it calls for self-defense. At this point, we have resolved the entire Nigerian students numbering about 80 million, including those that find themselves in South Africa, who have also been victims of the killings under the guise of xenophobia. For us, there's nothing like xenophobia, because if we want to talk about xenophobia, Nigerians should be the one pushing it. Is there any multinational company in South Africa being controlled by Nigerians? There is none. Is there any big company being controlled by Nigerians in South Africa? There is none. But in our client, we have them in numbers. MultiChoice is there. We have MTN. I mean, these are organizations that should be controlled by our people. That the money that is accruable to these organizations should be serving our constituency, our country. But daily, these monies, these profits are being repatriated to South Africa. But we are not killing anybody because we believe that there should be room for competition. On this note, this is the message of Nigerian students across the globe. Please just give me 3 minutes. I'm going to read it out for the benefit of the media so that you can help us communicate it to the global community. Thank you very much. Being the text of the press conference addressed by my humble self, Comrade Daniel Simbamidele Akpan, the President, National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, on this day, 7th August 2019, with the heading, South Africans must go, Nigerians in South Africa should return back to Nigeria. Gentlemen of the press, you may recall that Nigerian students, as directed by the NANS leadership under my humble self, has been on the streets in major cities of the country in the last 2 weeks, doing what we refer to as picketing in a peaceful way. We have not destroyed or vandalized any property. We have not attacked anybody, just to send a message to the international community, but all to no avail. Instead of getting the attention of these people, instead of making them to stop the heinous killing of our brothers, it has rather made them to continue to killing our people. And at this point, we have come to this resolution. Interestingly, the picketing exercise was peacefully carried out in the hope that government of South Africa and our citizens would once and for all end all forms of attacks on our people under the guise of xenophobia. Behold, the killings have continued and has even assumed a more dangerous dimension. This worsening development calls for swift reaction. Importantly, we want to call on all Nigerians in South Africa to, as a matter of urgency, reconsider their stay in South Africa and begin to plan to return back to Nigeria. It is better to be a slave in your fatherland than being a slave in other people's land. I, for one, feel that Nigeria is better than anywhere in the world, and that is why I would die in Nigeria. Having gone through the first phase without any remorse or practical action to end xenophobic attack in South Africa, we wish to announce that Nigerian students have decided to take on South African same way they have been doing to our people on their climb. We have seen the helplessness of South African government, especially one that we can refer to as spiral silence, complete endorsement of the killing of Nigerians, which you agree with me to the extent that not a single person has been arrested or prosecuted by the government of South Africa. It does not happen here. If they have their internal crisis as regards crimes and criminality, they should tackle it, not to play with the blood of other nationals. Since the economic prosperity of Nigerians can no longer be tolerated in South Africa, and of course their security can no longer be assured, there is no need to also condone the continued flourishing of South African businesses and their nationals in Nigeria. We therefore wish to officially ask all South African businesses, please, journalists, do not edit this. Say it the way I'm saying it, that South Africans henceforth should leave Nigeria with all their businesses. Nigerian students are not joking about it. And we are giving 7 days ultimatum for this action to be carried out. Diplomacy has failed. Diplomacy has failed. We all must come to that conclusion because the sanctity of human life has been defiled. The value of human life has been reduced to nothing. When we talk about 128, which have also risen within the past few days, we are not talking about goats. We are not talking about chickens. We are talking about human beings. Human beings that are going about their normal businesses. And when they want to bamboozle us, they will tell us that it is Nigerians that are killing Nigerians. Please arrest the Nigerians that have been killing Nigerians in South Africa and prosecute them. Let us see them being prosecuted. Repatriate them to this country and let's do the needful. No South African can be killed in this country and our government will keep quiet without enforcing the laws and order of this country. It is not done. South Africa has become a banana republic where everything obtains. We can't take that. We can't allow people to be killed continuously. And it will shock you that because of what is happening in South Africa, other countries are beginning to follow suit, thinking that Nigerians don't have value. Kill them, nothing will happen. After all, they are killing them in hundreds in South Africa. It is unfortunate. Nigerian students will not be party to that. We have decided no going back. Enough is enough. We specifically want multi-choice. MTN, Stanbic IBTC Bank, is a South African bank. We know how much they get on a daily basis from our country. And they repatriate all these profits back to South Africa. It does not function on our land. The only thing we benefit is tax, which they don't pay. Also, the salary of those that work. The relationship between us and them is like that of serfs and lords, for those who understand political terms. Slave and lords. That is the only relationship that exists between Nigerians and the South African businesses. We cannot continue to be slaves. We also have the right to control more MTN. We know what multi-choice has been doing to us. It is only in Nigeria that multi-choice charge, pay on whether you use it or not. It is reading. We have not taken up arms against them. On this note, we are also asking for the closure of ShopRite, telling our people in South Africa to relocate back to Nigeria. There are businesses for you here in Nigeria. We can occupy MTN and run the businesses and use the money to maintain our country. And cut the hell of what is happening in South Africa. Come back home, Nigerians. Come back to your country home. We also use this opportunity to state that it will no longer be business as usual. Nigerians must rise up to the occasion. For us, Nigerian students, we have risen up. Some people, the naysayers, will ask, why are we using these means? Because of their selfish interests, because of their business interests. It is only those that are alive that can make profit. It is only those that are alive that can have businesses. Let me also tell you that the businesses, properties of Nigerians in South Africa that are being killed have been looted, carted away by the hoodlums. Yeah. It is not just the killing. They loot them, they destroy everything that has to do with them. We are not fools. Of the greatest Nigerian students, we want to say finally that to this end, we announce the commencement of Operation Clampdown on South African businesses and South Africans in Nigeria. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights.
Well, thank you very much to you, but however, my brother, Kulu Kulu, Kulu Kulu, we have said, no, they will answer, Kulu Kulu, no answer. Look, Tayo will speak and Prof will speak, but I want to appeal to you. I've said it here today that we're reaching a tipping point, but at this stage, we can still let diplomacy work. We are not accepting killings of our brothers and sisters in South Africa, but we want them to investigate those they are investigating and come to conclusions. But we do not think that the solution is closing down businesses here. We also have Nigerians working there. However, I'm assuring you that investigations will be concluded. Those who killed Nigerians will be investigated thoroughly. The people who killed Mrs. Chukwu must be identified. You know, and those who even did what they did to Tayo are being investigated. So investigations are ongoing. 8 South African policemen are currently in court, you know, being tried for killings of Nigerians. And our Consul General in South Africa is having sleepless nights. He's always on top of this situation. So I know that you've told us enough is enough, but I appeal to you that do not let get to that level where we start killing each other or closing each other's businesses. Like I said, we are Nigerians. We are humane and we respect humanity. And we will not come down to that level. You understand what I'm saying? So I appeal to you. You've given us your deadline. You've given us your declaration. But I still appeal to you that we believe that some things will still work. The 2 presidents will be meeting. The 2 presidents will also be meeting sometime this year. And I'm sure the ministers of foreign affairs, as soon as the minister gets into office, will also be meeting his counterpart in South Africa. And I also believe that the African Union really must intervene in this matter. So I appeal to Nigerian students. We're all angry. We are all angry. But you know what? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Any more killing of any Nigerian in South Africa will not be tolerated. And I think we've all tried, and we've, tried to make diplomacy work. So key thing is South Africa, those investigations must be concluded. Let's know the policemen who have been killing Nigerians. Let's also know the persons who killed Elizabeth Chukwu. Let's also deal with the persons who dealt with Tayo. Tayo, you've gone through it firsthand, and you've heard your brothers here. So we want you to also hear from you, and then we hear from Prof, and then we round up this session. Can you just...
I should remove, okay.
What's that?
My tag. Oh, okay, all right. Okay. Mr. Akpan, vibration, and that's the power that the youth of Nigeria and the youth of Africa that we have today, But I want to beg you, bro, let's not make a mistake to turn Africa into a jungle where we act like, I don't want, you are my brother, right? Because I'm a Nigerian and I'm sitting next to you. We could be friends even though we haven't met before. So I see you as my brothers, and all Nigerian students. I was once a student in Nigeria, so I'm a part of the association, So I want to beg you guys to please calm down, because there's a reason why God made those cops to beat me, and He made me pay that sacrifice, but it didn't cost my life and blood. And because God wants me to still be alive here today, to be able to make use of my brain and my voice. And I assure you, brother, the change is what you want. You want xenophobia to stop. We can make xenophobia stop without being violent about it. Let me make an example. Many people here wouldn't know me today if not for multi-choice. I'm a product of Big Brother Africa. And many Nigerian youths have benefited from this. We have companies from South Africa in Nigeria who have employed many Nigerians, right? And also in South Africa. I mean, I'm very grounded in South Africa. There is hardly any successful Nigerian in South Africa that I don't know. We have establishments there, that it's not something you can just wake up one day and say, let's go home. And what would Africa become? Are we going forward or we're going backwards? If we say, I'm hungry too. If I was a South African, I'll probably be going through counselors, trying to check my brain if I'm okay or what, But as a Niger boy, German body, it's my attitude towards what happened to me that matters most. I could be somewhere sobbing and crying and being angry and everything, but it wouldn't change anything. This happened to me. Many people have made some comments on social media thinking I'm special because of my status as a TV personality. But I want you to know that every Nigerian is special. The people that lost their lives, may their souls rest in peace. We care about them. It hurts. If someone would tell me that, oh, something happened to a Nigerian in something, I'll be touched. Definitely. I just want to beg you, please, if you can give some time, just some time, put me to test, brother. I promise you I'm competent enough, and I'm not just bluffing. When those cops, when I told them, you say you want to show me hell, me too, I will take you to the front of the world, though. Are we not in front of the world today? We are here, and that was why I did, and I'm happy that even though the beating, I've got some scars here. Like I said, God blessed me with a good skin, so that's why maybe by now I should still be swollen. They beat me so much. It is too much that I cannot even begin to think about that because it will hold me down. The pain and the anger will hold me down, but I want to press forward. Not because of the youth of today, because we also become old tomorrow. But what about our children? I'm a father of two. I want them to to grow into a better Africa. And a better Africa is not when we destroy things and cut relationships. A better Africa is when we can, try to live together in peace as one family. All right, so as I have said, that my name is Faniran. I can't hide. Everybody, or many people know me, and they know about me. And this is not just because I was beaten in South Africa by the cops. It is also because of how people know me. I spent 90 days on a reality TV show, on a show whereby you can't hide. If you are someone who is biased, people will know you. If you are a gossip, people will know that this is who you are. Nigerians and many people in Africa will testify to you that I am not a biased person. I stand for the truth, and that is what I want to do. So we are going to fix xenophobia issues, especially the one in South Africa, because that seems to be the depot of it in Africa. It may be happening in other parts of Africa as well, but right now, South Africa is under the spotlight that is bad for them. Please allow me to champion this movement that says say no to xenophobia, because I am directly connected to this, and I have passion for Africa, and I want to take Africa forward. Please give me some time, bro. I beg you as your brother. When you saw me here now, you asked me, thank God you're alive, and that touched me. You haven't met me before, but you've just shown me love. Love means so much to me, and probably most of the reasons why I'm in love with Africa, why I'm drunk in love with Africa, is because when I was on Big Brother Africa, the whole of Africa voted for me. I've been hosted in countries like Uganda, Rwanda, and I've been treated like a king. And they've shown me so much love, and I can't throw that away. The same is South Africa to me. So please, I beg you, bro, give me some time. We can work together and fix this thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear quickly from Prof. Prof.
The best way out is to key into what the Honorable is doing by engaging all of us, engaging South Africans, policymakers, engaging the victims, engaging students, and I believe through engaging what I call engaging and sustainable diplomacy, we will get to the promised land. Honorable Abike Dabiri should be seen as our Joshua, not because we do not like Father Moses, but because Joshua sealed the deal by taking the Israelites to the promised land. It will not be 44 years in the wilderness. And today marked a new dawn in the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa, and indeed other African nations. Education is key, apart from diplomacy. I was saying somewhere that the sense of history and the idea or the fact that the new generation South Africans lack knowledge of what Nigeria did in decolonizing South Africa, in fighting apartheid, in housing and sponsoring the leaders of South Africa today in Unilag, UI, IFE. They studied here. But the young generation, do they know anything about it? No. They just now see post-apartheid and they believe Nigerians are there to just take all the honey without living. So we need to reorientate their psyche. I believe part of the initiative will be for NITCOM under your leadership, Ma, to look into engaging the Ministry of Education in South Africa, to also engage even MTN and other multinational corporations with interest in Nigeria and all over Africa to talk about it. I'm shocked that there is no signpost. You said that. I studied in South Africa some years back before your time. I was at UNISA, and going to Joburg was so interesting, and you feel free. But what has become of Joburg? From Joburg, that is Johannesburg, to Port Elizabeth, to Grahamstown, to Cape Town. I'm giving you the geography now. It's so disturbing, but we will take care of this. Let me round up by saying that interestingly and coincidentally, perhaps divinely, I was sharing with the Honorable Chairman of NITCOM, that is Honorable Abike Dabiri, a few minutes ago, that I just won an Art and Humanities Research Council grant in UK. And what we are doing is about contextualizing and decolonizing peace education. And as we go to South Africa, interestingly, on between September 2nd and 4th, is part of the workshop. And if you are around, I'll find time to bring you. It's part of what we will infuse if we would like to go to South Africa. So we will be talking at UNISA, at the University of South Africa, because the program or the project is about Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, Uganda, and then UK. Okay. So please let us engage all this initiative. Let's continue to be educated and pray also beyond all issues that God will make peace and there will be peace. Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Babidele wants to round up.
Have done in South Africa. Have you done that?
I've lived it.
Not 11 years. I mean, before 11 years, for the past 20 years.
Okay.
Have you done?
Excellency, Mr. Godwin, we've gone through all of these things together because it's also willing, it's supportive of this movement that we should say no to xenophobia. And if there are all these questions about maybe what happened in 1960, whatever, that I don't know, I have a team of people who are very, very inclined with Africa. They even know which year former President Obasanjo was born and his date of birth, everything. So, like I mentioned before, I have resources. I have a team of people that have been put in place. And yes, we will say no to xenophobia and we'll get to the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The contribution now.
So the next
The contribution is the big boss you are talking about.
Yeah.
I'll give you one or two names that can give you.
We'll do that.
Okay, on my right. Where is it?
Good afternoon.
Who are you directing it to?
To Honorable.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Govt. I report for the site news. Honorable Ma,
Within the next 3-4 months, the meeting will hold. If nothing changes, there is already a bilateral discussion going on. So it's not only going to be on that, but it definitely will be a major issue for. Don't forget that the president was also here, and he also told us that the rate of crime in his country is high, and that they're trying to do something about it, and that they are not targeting Nigerians. But what we're saying is that if you are not, then let us see those people who did it. There must be consequences for actions. Those 8 policemen, finish the case. The person who killed Elizabeth Chukwu or the persons, let's know them. The policemen who attacked Faniran should not only apologize to him, but they should be seen to be reprimanded. Economic migrants. Yes, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. But you see, you can't stop migration, legal or illegal, regular or irregular.
Of course.
We're talking of the diasporans who remitted $26 billion to this country.
In fact,
We're talking of the diasporans.
Sorry, ma. The Vienna Convention
Yes.
allows even
Nigerian is the Nigerian. And I told you, I said, we are Nigerians. We have energy. We are humane and we respect humanity. That is where we are different. And that is why we should not come down low to that level.
Yes.
You know, if Nigeria closes its borders today, West Africa will suffer. But we are saying that do not let us degenerate to that level. Let us be thinking about, I think it should be a shame to us as Africans that this is what we're talking about. We're saying Ghana, you close shop, you don't close shop. Over what? Selling spare parts and textiles. You're not talking about manufacturing aeroplanes. India is building a train on water. China is taking over the world. Africa, we are fighting each other. We should be ashamed of ourselves. That's what I'm saying. And, you know, Nigeria will continue to take the lead. So we are not going to go down low. You know, so we cannot stop migration, legal or illegal, but rather we even encourage regular migration. And for the lady who asked about, what was the question again?
your action plan.
Yeah, like I said, we've been engaging. I think Prof actually put all that together. The commission is just about 3 months old. We're going to explore forms of engagement. We're going to go to South Africa and tell them, educate your people. And then if somebody is killed, that person must be punished. Nobody has been punished. So South Africa must show the political will to do it. So we continue the engagement, and we also think cultural exchanges. Like I said before, my recollection of South Africa as a kid who never traveled out of Nigeria was Ipitombi, when they came to Nigeria for first time. That's my first experience about South Africa, and it stayed in me as, oh, you know, lovely warriors. Aya Ipitombi, yeah. And if you go to South Africa today, they will tell you the Banj, Davido, Ake Apopo,
yeah.
you know, Igwe. You know, so let's have more cultural exchanges. All this is a result of ignorance. South Africa also has its own problems. They are dealing with economic issues, you know, and they're also dealing with a whole lot of crime. 20,000 murders every year in South Africa. In Cape Town, 50 a day. That's the truth. So that's why I'm appealing to you that is not the solution. You know, and then we say your own country is not safe. Sometimes where you're going to is worse than where you're running away from. The records are there, 20,000 murders every year. And in Cape Town, it's about 50 a day. Cape Town reduced because they now brought in soldiers to deal with crime. The 16-year-old boy that was killed, he was a victim of armed robbery. They wanted to attack him. As he was running, they shot him. So we have to look at all this in perspective. But the key thing is, as Africa, let us build this continent. Let us move this continent forward. You know, we are not where we should be as a continent. And we shouldn't be seen fighting each other when others are even fighting us and looking down on us. So we should. African Union has to intervene. This cannot continue in Africa. We can't be killing each other. We can't be discriminating against each other. We have to move this continent forward. And on that note, I want to say thank you, Prof. Thank you, Taya.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Bamidele and his team. Anuta!
No, I'm not taking action.
This one.
How are you?
Okay.
Let's take our picture first.
Can we move this?
What's the yawa tell like?
Yes, sir.
Let's take it. Tayo, come. This president.